Okay, the next question is what are good breathing mechanics and what are bad breathing mechanics? So what do we mean by breathing mechanics? Well, we're talking about muscles that move air in and out of the lungs. And the mechanics are things like breathing fast. That's a kind of mechanics. That's a breathing behavior. You breathe fast. Or breathing slowly. That's about breathing mechanics. That's a behavior that you learn. You learn to breathe slowly. You learn to breathe fast. Or you learn to take a deep breath or a short breath, small breath or a big breath. Okay, these are mechanical things that you can do. Or you breathe through the nose, for example, or breathe through the mouth. These are, again, mechanical kinds of issues that we do. And these mechanics need to serve respiration. And what is respiration about? Respiration is about, of course, getting gas into the lungs and then moving oxygen through the circulatory system in your body to the cells. And it's also about moving carbon dioxide that's generated in the cells back through the circulatory system and through the lungs. But that's only part of it. A very important part of it is that you need to retain the right amount of carbon dioxide in the system. You don't want to exhale all the carbon dioxide. As I've mentioned before, carbon dioxide is a precious substance that you need for your survival. If you didn't have carbon dioxide, you would die. You have to have the right level concentration of carbon dioxide in your blood at all times. It's regulating the acid-base balance of your body. So those mechanics need to serve those respiratory requirements, getting oxygen to where it needs to be, and then managing the supply of carbon dioxide. Managing the supply of carbon dioxide. You get rid of some of it, and you keep some of it. And you got to keep the right amount of it. Okay, and we call that aligning the mechanics with the chemistry. The breathing mechanics and the respiratory chemistry. You align those things so they work, they're synchronized, they're working together. But what happens is that what suboptimal breathing is, or what bad breathing really is about, from a respiratory point of view, is where those mechanics no longer are serving the respiratory requirements. And why don't they? It's because you get in the way. You learn a habit unconsciously. Habits are designed to be unconscious. They're designed to regulate where you don't have to be involved. Like when you walk, you don't have to think about the muscles that you're using. You just walk across the floor. Because it's a habit that's all built in. We operate that way. We have this whole system of habits. The same thing with breathing. And so the habits shouldn't be getting in the way of the coordination or the linking of the breathing with the respiration. That needs to be there. Breathing is acrobatic. We breathe all kinds of different ways, but we want to be sure that the mechanics are really serving the respiratory requirement. And we develop bad breathing for all kinds of reasons. And a good example would be where someone is suffered with trauma, and they get into a situation where they start to experience some of that trauma because of maybe where they are. So then when they overventilate, they lose carbon dioxide, what happens is that you get this constriction of the blood vessels in the brain so that you feel disoriented and you disconnect. You do what we call dissociate. You dissociate. So now you can escape those bad memories. So now you regulate the memories by the way you're breathing, which may be in conflict with good respiration. So the good breathing here is where you keep that linkage in place where the breathing and the respiration are together, but because of some other agenda that is staying away from these bad memories, you throw that off kilter. You reduce oxygen supply, so you get disoriented in the brain, and as a result, you feel more comfortable, you feel safe. You feel good when you're breathing dysfunctionally. You feel good because you're disconnected. You're no longer relating to these challenges in your life. It's a way of avoiding them. So the breathing becomes an avoidance behavior. When you avoid, you reduce the anxiety associated with the trauma. See, so Good and bad breathing have to do with the outcome of the breathing. It's not based on the mechanics, like slow breathing is good and fast breathing is bad. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with whether it's serving you or not from a respiratory point of view. Are the mechanics supporting the respiratory requirements? If not, from a physiological point of view, this is not good breathing. From a psychological point of view, however, it might be good because you're dealing with the trauma. You're avoiding the trauma. You're escaping the trauma, and it makes you feel better from that perspective, but you're paying the price of compromised respiration.